Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. A local father is inspiring millions online just by living his normal life. He says, wake up each day and give it all you have. And that is exactly how Richard Dahl tells me he lives as he works to be the best dad to his adorable one-year-old daughter, despite his circumstance of being wheelchair bound.
You think that you have a plan, and they always say, like, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan.
Richard Dahl had just graduated college and was about to put his career plan into effect when an armed robber changed everything.
I tried to get in my car and drive off, and as I was driving off, as I made it, a little ways down the block, the bullet came through the car and struck me in the back and hit me in the spine and instantly paralyzed me.
So instead of starting a new career, his entire focus shifted to learning how to live life in a wheelchair.
What happens if, you go to a corner and then there's no cutout for you to get into the street and to cross the street? Like, what happened? What are you going to do, So those are things that I faced before, having to hop down curbs and ask people, complete strangers, for help and just figure out how to navigate, through the streets.
It wasn't easy, but he figured it out.
This way, look at me now.
Now, 6 years later, a new challenge, learning how to parent as a wheelchair user.
When it came to me getting her into the car and just different things, that stuff literally created anxiety for me because I'm like, oh crap, how am I going to do these things?
As he figures this out too, Rich shares pieces of his life online, and millions of people are watching.
That's why, the whole Walking Rich platform is so powerful for me, is just because I get to inspire people just genuinely being me, and just genuinely just getting up and just carrying out life.
You'd think co-parenting little Riley and running his business would be enough. But apparently not, because Rich also decided to take up adaptive golf.
Golf is hard and life is hard. And I told myself, if I can figure out how to become a good golfer, I can, figure out how to become a good person in life, and, I can figure out how to become good at life.
And his definition of being good at life has a lot to do with creating lifelong memories for one special little girl.
She's like, oh, my dad, I used to roll all around L.A. on my dad's lap, and, this is her stroller almost. People always ask me, would I take it back if I had the opportunity? And it's one of those things that I wouldn't, because I know that if I took the situation back, that I would have to give back the way I think, the way I move, my perseverance, my outlook, my ability to adapt.
I don't know if you noticed Richard wearing a shirt. It says City of Champs and Angels, because he loves Inglewood, he loves Los Angeles. That's his clothing line, actually, and he sells branded things branded with City of Champs and Angels. It's pretty cool. But one thing he talked about that, Araxia, I think that people often don't think about is, and many people have done it, but blocking the sidewalk a little bit with the tail end of your car. You can't quite fit in the driveway. You don't think anything about it. You're mostly focused on whether you'll get a ticket or not. You think it's fine. He says that he often likes to go on a stroll with his daughter, and she'll be in his lap, and he just wants to take her to get some fresh air. And he says he gets dirty looks, he gets honks, because he's in the street in a busy roadway with this baby on his lap. And he says people don't realize that the reason he's in the roadway is because that tiny tail end of your car has completely made it so that he can't use the sidewalk.
Wow.
And people don't think about that.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up, because the whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking about all of the things we, of course, on a daily basis take for granted.
Yeah.
Just all the simple things, like we jump in a car, jump out, it's not a big deal. And for him, just even that process is a process, And these are the moments where you're like, wow, it puts everything in perspective. Yeah. And I feel bad saying that, because it's, his difficulty that makes you feel this way.
But that's essentially what he's saying. You heard him say that he wouldn't change it if he could go back, and that sounds almost unbelievable, right? Yeah. But he says just what you're saying is that it has changed him. It has changed his outlook on life, how he sees things, what he cares about, what's important to him. And he doesn't want to lose that.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible.
He is pretty incredible, and
very
that baby,
inspiring.
I was like, I have to pick her up.
Very sweet.
She's so cute.
Oh, he is incredible, Brooke. Thank you for bringing us that story.
Oh, of course. I'm so glad he was willing to share that story with me.
Yes, and bring it to the public eye. He obviously has a lot of passion and a lot of willpower, and now that he has his daughter, it's just makes him that much better of a dad. He's just, again, gives me all the warmth, all the good stuff.